Before we begin, remember that this video is for educational purposes only and isn't financial or real estate advice. Always consult licensed professionals. Most first-time buyers make at least one of these mistakes. Let's make sure you don't. Most people think buying a home is always the better financial move, but the math is actually much more complicated than a simple mortgage payment. Today, we're breaking down the hidden costs, the opportunity gaps, and exactly how to use a calculator to see which path actually builds your wealth faster. Alright, let's start with the real-world problem. Most calculators focus on the mortgage, but it's the phantom costs that actually drain your bank account. One of the biggest misconceptions is comparing rent directly to a mortgage payment. In reality, your rent is the maximum you'll pay for housing each month, while your mortgage is the absolute minimum. When the water heater breaks or the roof leaks, that cost is on you, not a landlord, which can add thousands to your annual budget unexpectedly. Property taxes and homeowners insurance are often bundled into your monthly payment, but they aren't fixed. These costs can rise significantly over time, even if you have a fixed-rate mortgage. Many buyers forget to factor in that as the value of the home goes up, the tax bill usually follows, eating into your monthly savings. A safe rule of thumb is to set aside at least 1% of the home's value every year for maintenance and repairs. If you buy a $400,000 home, that's $4,000 a year, or about $333 a month that you need to save just to keep the house in its current condition. Renters often overlook this sinking funds when they calculate how much they think they'll save by buying. Next, we need to talk about where your money lives. When you buy, you tie up a lot of cash that could be working for you elsewhere. When you put $50,000 down on a house, that money is no longer earning interest in the stock market or a high-yield savings account. A good calculator will compare the appreciation of your home against the potential returns of a diversified investment portfolio. Sometimes, the lost gains from your down payment can outweigh the equity you build in a home over the first few years. Buying a home isn't free. You typically pay 2% to 5% of the purchase price in closing costs just to get the keys. This includes loan origination fees, title insurance, and inspections. If you move too soon, these upfront costs can make buying much more expensive than renting for that same period. When it comes time to sell, you usually pay a 5% to 6% commission to real estate agents, plus additional closing costs. This means your home has to appreciate by at least 8% to 10% just for you to break even on the transaction costs alone. This is why buying is rarely a good financial move if you plan to stay for less than 5 years. Quick reminder, real estate markets and mortgage programs vary by location, so always verify with local professionals. Time is the most important variable in any rent, thus is buy calculation. Let's look at how the break-even point works. In most markets, it takes about 5 to 7 years for the benefits of homeownership, like equity paydown and appreciation, that outweigh the high costs of buying and selling. If your job or lifestyle requires you to move every 3 years, renting is almost always the smarter financial choice. Always check the years to stay. Toggle on your calculator first. In the early years of a mortgage, the vast majority of your monthly payment goes toward interest, not the principal balance. This means you aren't actually building much equity for the first several years. Renting can sometimes feel like throwing money away, but paying interest to a bank is functionally very similar. Many people assume home prices always go up by 5% a year, but real estate is hyperlocal. If you buy in a stagnant market, your home value might not keep up with inflation or your maintenance costs. A realistic calculator should allow you to test different appreciation rates, including 0% or even negative growth, to see the risk. There are some perks to buying, but they aren't as universal as they used to be. Let's look at the actual impact of taxes and lifestyle. People often say you should buy a house for the tax write-offs, but with the current high standard deduction, many homeowners don't actually get an extra tax break. Unless your mortgage interest and property taxes exceed the standard deduction, you won't see a lower tax bill. Don't assume a tax windfall unless you've run the numbers with a CPA. One major psychological benefit of buying is that it acts as a forced savings account. While a renter might spend the money they save by not having a mortgage, a homeowner is required to pay down their debt every month. Over 30 years, this discipline often leads to a higher net worth for homeowners, even if the math was slightly less efficient. Renting provides the ability to move for a better job or a change of scenery with just 30 days' notice. Homeownership locks you into a specific location and a specific debt. If you value the ability to pivot your life quickly, that flexibility has a massive financial value that a calculator can't always capture. Finally, let's look at how to actually input the data so you get a result you can trust. When using a calculator, don't assume rent stays flat forever. Usually, rent increases by 2% to 4% annually. If you underestimate rent inflation, the calculator will make renting look better than it actually is over a 10-year period. Look at your local historical data for a more accurate estimate. Most advanced calculators ask what interest rate you could earn if you invested your down payment instead. If you set this too low, buying looks like a remarkable. If you set it at 7% or 8%, the historical stock market average, the decision becomes much tougher. Be honest about what you would actually do with that cash. Before you decide, ask yourself 3 questions. Can I stay for 7 years? Is the total monthly cost less than 30% of my income? And do I have an emergency fund left over after the down payment? If the answer to any of these is no, renting is likely the safer financial move for now, regardless of what the calculator says. That's the practical version of what matters most. The big idea is to understand that buying a home is both a lifestyle choice and a complex investment that requires a long-term commitment to be profitable. Don't just look at the monthly payment, look at the total cost over time. If this helped you understand the math better, like and subscribe for more practical guides that help you compare costs and make smarter financial decisions. Check out Reledemy for more tools to help you navigate your next move with confidence. Always consult a licensed professional before making property decisions. Thanks for watching. Remember, this is educational content only. Consult a licensed real estate agent or mortgage broker before making property decisions. Subscribe for more.